the headlines, Israel defends Netanyahu's Gaza plan, calling it liberation, not conquest. Israel defends its push to expand the Gaza offensive. U.S. supports it and Palestine condemns it. And warnings from Russia, France, and the UK that it violates international law. Crime and beautification. Ahead of his planned announcement, President Donald Trump deploys hundreds of federal officers from various agencies to patrol Washington, D.C. He calls it a push for safety despite city data showing violent crime hit a 35-year low past year. Troop shortage hits South Korea. The country's armed forces shrink 20% in 6 years as record low birth rates slash the pool of eligible soldiers, raising fears of operational strain. Uganda's opposition leader stays behind bars. Besigye, detained for nearly 9 months on treason charges, remains in custody after a judge ruled he's 12 days short of 180-day requirement for mandatory bail. Rights groups call it a political crackdown ahead of next year's elections. For our sports news, U.S. Open sets record prize pool. The 2025 tournament will offer the biggest payout in tennis history, capping a milestone week in sports. And Filipinos shine in Japan. From folk dance to choral singing, the Filipino community showcases talent, unity, and faith at the Kingdom of Jesus Christ summer camp in Japan. I'm Angel Pastor. Newsline World starts now. First in our news, in Turkey, a 6.1 magnitude earthquake has left one person dead and dozens injured. The tremor struck the town of Sidrye, damaging buildings and triggering emergency rescue efforts. Turkey's disaster management agency says it was followed by around 20 aftershocks, the strongest measuring 4.6. Officials confirmed that an 81-year-old man rescued from a collapsed 3-story building in the town center died shortly afterwards. Another 29 people were hurt, but none of the injuries are life-threatening. 16 buildings in Sidrye and nearby areas were destroyed, 4 of them inhabited. First responders managed to pull several survivors from the rubble. The tremor was felt in major western cities, including Istanbul and the coastal hub of Izmir. More than 300 rescue personnel have been deployed to the affected area. Turkey sits on several active fault lines and regularly experiences earthquakes. Last year, a massive quake in the south killed more than 53,000 people. South Korea's military is shrinking fast, down 20% in the last 6 years to about 450,000 troops. A defense ministry report says the drop is due to fewer young men reaching enlistment age as the country struggles with the world's lowest birth rate. Justina Zario has the news.
The number of 20-year-old men, the typical age for service, has fallen 30% since 2019. That's creating a shortage of officers, and officials warn could cause problems for operations if the trend continues. South Korea's armed forces have been getting smaller since the early 2000s, when they numbered nearly 690,000. In comparison, North Korea is believed to have about 1.2 million troops. Service terms have been cut to 18 months from 36 after the Korean War, a change made possible by advanced weapons, a strong alliance with the U.S., and a booming defense industry. Even with a defense budget of more than 61 trillion won, the military is still short 50,000 troops, including over 20,000 non-commissioned officers. And with a population expected to drop from 51.8 million in 2020 to just 36.2 million by 2070, experts say the manpower problem won't be going away anytime soon. Justin Nazario, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
let us discover the power of prayer. 30 minutes of kneeling down and praying to God all alone in your room or when nobody is there will make miracles in your life. It will help strengthen your spirit and your mind, and the Father will give you the comfort that you have been seeking for that nobody can give.
Ikaw ba ay namomroblema sa taas ng electric bill buwan-buwan? Huwag mag-alala, narito ang ilang paraan upang makatipid sa kuryente. Patayin ang mga ilaw at appliances kapag hindi ginagamit. Sa halip ay gumamit ng natural na liwanag upang makatipid sa kuryente. Tanggalin sa saksakan ang mga appliances kung hindi ginagamit. Iwasan ang paggamit ng maraming appliances ng sabay-sabay. Gumamit ng LED bulbs. Ito ay mas tipid sa kuryente kumpara sa mga incandescent at fluorescent bulbs. Regular na linisin ang mga appliances tulad ng electric fan, aircon vents at refrigerator. Magkaroon ng takdang araw sa isang linggo sa pamamalansya at paglalaba. Gumamit ng energy-efficient appliances. Tandaan, maging wais sa paggamit ng kuryente upang makatipid para mas gumaan ang buhay. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
The Trump administration has deployed hundreds of federal law enforcement officers in Washington, D.C. as part of an initiative to boost public safety in the capital. According to White House officials, about 400 officers from 8 different agencies took to the streets of Washington, D.C. and 10 of areas and non-crime hotspots. Among the agencies involved are the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and the Secret Service. This move came after President Donald Trump called for a stronger police presence in the city on August 8, citing concerns over crime rates.
We have to run D.C. This has to be the best run place in the country, not the worst run place in the country. And it has so much potential. And we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
However, official data from the DC Metropolitan Police shows that violent crime actually dropped by 35% in 2024, reaching the lowest levels in over 3 decades. The U.S. Senators or U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia confirmed that the 2024 figures represent a historic low in violent crime for the city. Despite these improvements, the administration's deployment signals a firm stance on maintaining public safety in the nation's capital. Meanwhile, Trump seems ready to announce additional federal measures to tackle crime in the capital. He hinted at the White House news conference on August 11, focused on crime and beautification. In Japan, Filipinos took center stage, joining of Jesus Christ Summer Camp, first time turning into a celebration of talent, unity, and faith. More of this story in MJ Mondijar's report from Kanagawa.
From folk dance and street dances to chorale, duet, and solo singing contests, the Filipino community went all out at the 2025 Summer Camp of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ here in Japan. According to OFW leader Berwin D, this is the first time that the PhilCom participated in the annual KOJC celebration here in Japan.
Maganda yung mga ganitong event na hinohold ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ, especially na hindi lang actually sa mga members niya, kundi open ito sa mga Philippine community.
4 teams enjoyed a friendly competition in various events. Representing the PhilCom was the Green or Defenders team, while the other 3 came from different kingdom-like congregations in Japan, including Tokyo, Saitama, Ibaraki, Nagoya, Gunma, Osaka, and even South Korea.
Itong mga ganitong activities ay nagpapalawig ng kaisipan ng bawat Pilipino na nandirito sa Japan. At hindi lang sa mga Pilipino kagaya ko, kundi kahit sa mga Japanese. Ako mismo, ang asawa ko ay Haponesa. Actually, all-out support siya dahil nakikita niya kung paano ito nag-develop ng personality ng isang tao.
For OFW leader Risa Nagumo, this was the first time she participated in such activity in her many years of living here in Japan.
I am very grateful sa chance na inimbita kami ng KOJC. After 37 years sa Japan, first time na ako nakasali ng event na ganito na punong-puno ng energy, love at saka unity.
The Philcom bagged multiple awards in this year's summer camp, coming close to clinching the Grand Championship and winning the first place trophy on awards night. They also thanked Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy and the whole Kingdom Nation for this initiative.
This is a great activity of Pastor Apollo Kibuloy na kung saan it opens all the boundaries. Walang pagkakahiwa-hiwalay, kundi it actually unite all the people on its aspiration.
Hindi lang kami nakakuha ng samahan o unity ng bawat isa, nakakuha din kami ng spiritual ba, yung spirit ng love at pagkakaisa ng bawat isa.
As of 2024, more than 340,000 Filipinos are living here in Japan, a community KOJC and Pastor Apollo will never left behind.
Pati dito sa Japan, si Pastor ang naging unifying factor. Kung hindi dahil sa inyo, hindi po kami makarating ng ganitong nararating namin sa pag-unawa sa kalooban po ng Ama. Dahil po sa inyo, Pastor.
For Government of Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
Next, Zelensky at a table. U.S. envoy to NATO says President Donald Trump or Vladimir Zelensky could join August 15's Trump-Putin talks in Alaska, but only if Donald Trump invites him. Kiev warns any deal without Ukraine's involvement are dead solutions. And Uganda's opposition leader stays behind bars. Besigye, detained by nearly 9 months on treason charges, remains in custody after a judge ruled he's 12 days short of 180-day requirement for mandatory bail. Rights groups call it a political crackdown ahead of next year's election. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Isang digmaan na parang pelikula. Missiles, drones, at bunker-busting bombs. Pero ang epekto, totohanan. Daan-daang patay, wasak na infrastruktura, at nagmahal ang presyo ng langis na nakaapekto sa pandaigdigang merkado. Ito ang tinaguriang 12-day war o 12 araw na gyera sa pagitan ng Iran at Israel. Isang gyerang nagbago sa takbo ng politika, ekonomiya at seguridad, hindi lang sa Middle East kundi sa buong mundo. Hunyo 13, 2025, binomba ng Israel ang Iran para pigilan ang umano'y pagbuo ng nuclear weapons. Gumanti ang Iran. Libu-libong missiles at drones ang pinakawalan na ikinamatay ng 28 sa Israel. Sa loob ng 12 araw, kaliwat kanang opensiba ang inilunsad ng magkabilang panig. Hunyo 22, sumali na ang Amerika. 3 nuclear sites sa Iran ang binomba gamit ang B-2 stealth bombers sa Isfahan, Fordo at Natanz. Sabi ng US, layo nitong hadlangan ang nuclear program ng Iran. Pero para sa Tehran, ito raw ay pagtalikod sa diplomasya. Hunyo 24, inanunsyo ni US President Donald Trump ang ceasefire sa pagitan ng Israel at Iran. Pero ilang oras pa lang, muling nagkagirian. May ulat ng missile strike ng Iran na itinanggi nito kaya gumanti ang Israel. Sa huli, tumigil din ang putukan. Parehong panig, nagdeklara ng tagumpay. Parehas ding nagturuan kung sino nga ba ang lumabag sa ceasefire. Ngunit para kay Trump, pareho lang lumabag ang dalawang panig. Bandang gabi ng Hunyo 24, tumalab na rin sa wakas ang ceasefire. Ngunit habang pansamantalang natahimik ang putukan, nananatiling mainit ang mga tanong. May saysay pa ba ang diplomatikong kasunduan kung nauuna pa rin ang dahas? Marami ang umaasang ang tigil putukan ay simula ng mas mahinahong diskusyon. Pero ang duda nananatili. Sa Israel, nagtago ang mga sibilyan sa mga bomb shelter. Habang sa Iran, maraming taga-Tehran ang napilitang umalis sa kanilang mga tahanan patungong Turkey at Armenia para makaligtas sa gulo. Sa Iran, ayon sa Health Ministry nila, 610 na ang patay, 4,746 ang sugatan. Sa Israel, 28 ang nasawi ayon sa Army Radio. Marami rin sa military commander at scientist ng Iran ang nasawi. Sa Israel, umabot sa 8.7 bilyong dolyar ang kabuang gasto sa digmaan. Katumbas ito ng halos 725 milyong dolyar kada araw sa loob ng 12 araw. Habang ang Iran, nahirapang makabangon dahil sa nasirang pasilidad. Matapos ang deklarasyon ng ceasefire, nakatutok na ulit ang puwersa ng Israel sa Gaza. Ang Iran, walang plano na agad makipagnegosasyon sa Estados Unidos. Bagaman sinuspindi rin nito ang muling pakikipagnegosasyon sa US patungkol sa kanilang nuclear program, bukas pa rin ang pinto ng diplomasya. Tuloy pa rin ang nuclear program ng Iran na iginiit nilang para sa mapayapang layunin. Giit pa nila, lalo pa raw paiitingin ang pagsulong nito sa gitna ng tensyon. Sa kasagsagan ng tensyon, nagbanta ang Iran na isasara ang Strait of Hormuz, isang makitid na lagusan kung saan dumadaan ang halos 20% ng langis sa buong mundo. Bagamat hindi pa ito isinara, nagdulot na ng panik ang banta ng Iran. Tumaas ang presyo ng langis. Umabot sa $78 kada barrels ang krudo. Damang-dama ng buong mundo ang epekto ng digmaan. Ang pandaigdigang merkado nataranta. Sa kasagsagan ng gyera, bumagsak ng 2% ang US S&P 500 at tumaas ng 30% ang gastos sa maritime insurance na nagpabigat sa kalakalan sa Asya. Sa Pilipinas, na umaas sa imported na langis, lalong tumaas ang presyo ng gasolina, LPG at bilihin na nagpalala sa inflation. Ang mga Pinoy na nasa Middle East na nais bumalik sa Pilipinas dahil sa takot, nahirapan makauwi. Kapag tumataas ang presyo ng langis, sumasabay din ang gasto sa produksyon ng mga bilihin, kaya't ramdam ang epekto nito hindi lang sa petrolyo, kundi sa buong ekonomiya. May panukalang fuel subsidy para sa mga PUV. Pero sapat kaya ito? Isa itong paalala na kahit malayo ang labanan, ramdam.
Anything that happens in your life right now, as long as you hold on to the Father, stand strong. That is faith. So whatever you are undergoing now, believe that in the end, it will be the Father's will that will happen in your life. And that He will see you through as long as you hold on to Him. At the end, it will be all right because you will win. You will have the victory.
Meanwhile, in Britain this weekend, some of the world's top diplomats sat down, hoping to find a way to end the war in Ukraine. United Kingdom Foreign Secretary David Lammy and United States Vice President J.D. Vance sat down with security officials in Kent on Saturday, joined by top Ukrainian advisors Rustem Umerov and Andriy Yermak. Lammy reaffirmed Britain's ironclad support for Kiev, vowing to work toward what he called a just and lasting peace. The talks requested by Washington also brought in representatives from the European Union, France, Germany, Italy, Finland, and NATO. They come just a day after U.S. President Donald Trump announced he'll meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 15. Moscow's Kremlin aide called the location logical. Meanwhile, U.S. Ambassador to NATO says Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky could be invited to Friday's Trump-Putin summit in Alaska. Ambassador Matt Whitaker said the decision is up to President Trump, but stressed any peace deal must have all parties' agreement. The meeting has fueled hopes for progress on ending the war, though Zelensky has rejected Trump's idea of trading land with Russia, warning any deal made without Ukraine is a dead solution. America is done paying for Ukraine's war with Russia. Vice President J.D. Vance says it's time for Europe to take the lead and the bill. MJ Mondiha reports.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance says America is done funding Ukraine's war effort, urging European allies to step up if they wish to continue supporting Kyiv. Speaking to Fox News, Vance said the U.S. would be fine with Europeans buying American-made weapons, but will not continue to spend U.S. tax dollars on the conflict. Vance's interview was reportedly published after his meeting in London with Western European and Ukrainian officials, aimed at paving the way for a summit between President Donald Trump and Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin this week, with the Ukraine conflict expected to top the agenda. Vance stressed the American public is tired of paying the war and that European countries should bear more of the cost. Other options under the Trump-Putin discussion include swapping of territories to the betterment of both sides, something Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has rejected outright. Still, Zelensky said the talks between Vance and their UK and European counterparts were constructive. Meanwhile, Vance also said America sees a meeting between Zelensky and Putin before Putin meets Trump as unlikely to be productive. He said Trump should act as mediator, bringing the Ukrainian and Russian leaders together to resolve the war. Vance added that while Washington continues its dialogue with Kyiv, the priority is now peace. He condemned Russia's invasion but said lasting peace requires direct talk, not finger-pointing, and decisive leadership to bring both sides to the table. For Ganmabul of Philippines, MJ Mondiha, SMNI News.
Heavy rain is hitting southern Japan, flooding roads and forcing people to leave their homes. In Kyushu, the highest weather warning is up and more rain is expected in the coming days. Diana Flores has more.
Relentless downpours have soaked Japan's southern island of Kyushu for 3 straight days, triggering floods, landslides, and major travel disruptions. In Kitakyushu, cars were seen pushing through deep, muddy water as streets turned into rivers. Some roads were shut, with traffic officers guiding drivers to safer routes. Authorities have issued the highest level alerts in parts of the south. In Kagoshima, the city ordered elderly residents to evacuate due to the growing risk of landslides. The rain has also brought transport to a halt. Bullet trains on the Sanyo Shinkansen line have stopped, and flights at Kagoshima International Airport were disrupted. Forecasters warn the heavy rains are not over yet. More is expected through Tuesday, with up to 300 millimeters in Kyushu and 250 millimeters in parts of Kansai. Reporting for Newsline World, Diana Flores, your Global Citizen correspondent.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. personally inspected Phase 4 of the Pasig-Marikina River Channel Improvement Project earlier today in Marikina City. This crucial project is a joint effort between the Department of Public Works and Highways and the Japan International Cooperation Agency, or JICA. It targets flooding caused by the overflowing Pasig and Marikina rivers. Located at the Marikina Bridge under Loop Barangays or in Barangay Santo Niño, the project's Phase 4 includes both structural and non-structural measures designed to reduce flood risks not only in Metro Manila but also in surrounding communities. Work involves building protective dikes and revetments, installing floodgates and dredging river channels, all part of strengthening the region's flood management system. This phase, known as Contract Package 3, is a flagship infrastructure project made possible through strong partnership and funding from Japan. Up next, Israel defends Netanyahu's Gaza plan, calling it liberation, not conquest. Israel defends its push to expand the Gaza offensive. U.S. supports it, but Palestine condemns it, and warnings from Russia, France, and the UK that it violates international law. And beyond the UN chambers, protests erupt from different parts of the globe, denouncing Israel's expanded military campaign. Stay tuned, Newsline World will be back after the break.
Matunog ngayon ang salitang impeachment sa Pilipinas dahil sa nakambang impeachment trial kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Pero ang tanong ng taong bayan, ito ba ay para sa interes ng bansa o para sa politikal na motibo lamang? Sa ilalim ng saligang batas, may mga opisyal ng pamahalaan na maaaring tanggalin sa pwesto sa pamamagitan ng impeachment. Kabilang dito ang Pangulo, Pangalawang Pangulo, mga mahistrado ng Korte Suprema, mga miyembro ng Constitutional Commission at ang Ombudsman. Maaaring ma-impeach ang mga nabanggit na opisyal dahil sa matinding paglabag sa konstitusyon, pagtataksil sa bayan, panunuhol, katiwalian, mabibigat na krimen o pagtataksil sa tiwala ng publiko. Sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas, ilang matataas na opisyal na ang humarap sa impeachment trial. Noong taong 2000, si Pangulong Joseph Erap Estrada ang unang Pangulo ng bansa na humarap sa isang impeachment trial. Taong 2011 naman, si Ombudsman Mercedes Gutierrez ay naharap din sa impeachment dahil sa umano'y kapabayaan sa pag-aksyon sa mga kaso ng katiwalian. Hindi na siya humarap sa pagdinig sapagkat bago pa magsimula ang impeachment trial ay nagbitiw na ito sa pwesto. Noong 2012, si Chief Justice Renato Corona ay napatalsik naman mula sa Korte Suprema sa unang pagkakataon na impeach ang isang Chief Justice matapos mapatunayang hindi niya idineklara ang kanyang Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth o SALN ng buo. Ano nga ba ang proseso ng pag-impeach sa isang mataas na opisyal batay sa konstitusyon? Maaaring magsampa ng reklamo ang isang miyembro ng Kongreso o isang mamamayan basta may sumusuportang kongresista. Kapag 1/3 ng mga miyembro ng Kamara ang sumang-ayon, tuloy na agad ang proseso ng impeachment sa Senado. Sa sandaling maaprubahan ito ng House of Representatives, binubuo na ang Articles of Impeachment, isang dokumento na naglalaman ng mga aligasyon o batayan para sa impeachment. Pero tandaan, walang impeachment proceedings na maaaring isampa laban sa parehong opisyal ng higit sa isang beses sa loob ng isang taon. Ang Senado naman ang magsisilbing impeachment court kapag ang Pangulo ang nililitis, ang punong mahistrado ang namumuno, ngunit hindi bumoboto. 2/3 ng mga senador ang kailangan para hatulan ang opisyal. Anong parusa? Pagkakatanggal sa pwesto at diskwalifikasyon na makabalik sa gobyerno. Ang impeachment ay hindi simpleng usapin sa politika. Isa itong seryosong proseso na maaaring makaapekto sa kinabukasan ng bansa. Kaya sa panahong puno ng ingay at intriga, kinakailangan nating maging mapanuri, patas at maging makabayan. Bantayan natin ang katotohanan, pumanig tayo sa hustisya at higit sa lahat, unahin natin ang interes ng sambayanang Pilipino.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
The Ugandan court has refused the bail for veteran opposition figure Keza Besigye, who has been in detention for nearly 9 months on treason charges. Prince Tripoli has the latest.
Judge Emmanuel Baguma ruled that the 180-day period for mandatory bail only started when Keza Besigye was remanded to a civilian court on the 21st of February, leaving him 12 days short of qualifying. Besigye, former ally and personal doctor to President Yoweri Museveni, has challenged the 80-year-old leader in 4 previous elections. He was forcibly returned from Kenya in November last year, first charged in a military tribunal before his case was removed to a civilian court. His detention has drawn criticism from rights groups and opposition leaders, including Bobby Wine, who allege a crackdown ahead of next year's national election. The government denies targeting political rivals, insisting those detained have committed crimes. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Prince Tripoli, your citizen correspondent.
For our showbiz update, Hollywood lights may dazzle many, but actor Josh Duhamel has chosen a quieter path, trading the spotlight for a peaceful life in Minnesota. Meanwhile, American actor filmmaker Tom Hanks pays tribute to the late Apollo 13 astronaut Jim Lovell. Stella Maurice for our showbiz news.
Josh Duhamel says while he loves acting, he's ready to get back to basics and enjoy hands-on work. Over a decade ago, he bought a remote piece of land near Fargo, North Dakota. Since then, he's been building what he calls his doomsday cabin, a rustic lakeside retreat away from the hustle and bustle. Family is at the heart of this new lifestyle. Josh, who shares an 18-month-old son, Shepherd, with wife Audrey Marie and an 11-year-old son, Axel, from his previous marriage to Fergie, finds joy connecting with nature alongside his loved ones. Many remember Josh from his early TV roles as Leo DePress on All My Children and Danny McCoy on Las Vegas. On the big screen, he's famous for playing Captain William Lennox in the Transformers film series and roles in movies Life as We Know It and Safe Haven. Now this Hollywood star is embracing a simpler life, proving that sometimes the brightest spotlight is found in the quiet of nature. Meanwhile, Hollywood legend Tom Hanks is paying tribute to a true American hero, the late astronaut Jim Lovell. Lovell, who passed away last week at the age of 97, was best known as the commander of NASA's Apollo 13 mission in 1970. The mission, originally meant to land on the moon, faced a life-threatening crisis when an oxygen tank exploded on board. Thanks to Lovell's calm leadership and quick thinking, he and his crew managed to safely return to Earth. Tom Hanks famously portrayed Lovell in the 1995 film Apollo 13, a gripping retelling that earned 9 Academy Award nominations. Lovell's space career spanned decades, including commanding Apollo 8 in 1968, the first mission to orbit the moon, capturing iconic images like the unforgettable Earthrise. He also flew on Gemini 7 and Gemini 12, cementing his place as one of NASA's most respected pioneers. Lovell's legacy will live on, both in history and in Hollywood. And that's our showbiz news. This is Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
For our sports news, history is in the making in the world of sports. From a groundbreaking moment behind the plate in Major Baseball League to the richest payday tennis has ever seen. From the diamond to the hard courts, it's a weekend of milestones. Here's Carlo de la Peña for the latest sports updates.
All took the field this weekend, breaking a barrier that has stood for more than a century. She made her debut on August 9 at Truist Park during a doubleheader between the Atlanta Braves and Miami Marlins, starting at first base in the opener, moving to third base in a nightcap, and taking her place behind the plate for the final game. She was met with warm applause from fans, family, and colleagues. Players and crew chief Chris Guccione praised her confident and animated officiating, calling it one of the proudest moments of his career. To mark the occasion, Powell donated the cap she wore in her debut to the Baseball Hall of Fame, a symbol of her achievement and inspiration for future generations. The veteran official has spent years working in the minor leagues, earning praise for her skill, composure, and command of the game. MLB officials say they hope her debut will encourage more diversity in the umpiring ranks. Meanwhile, history will be made at this year's US Open, with the richest prize pool in tennis history. Organizers have announced a whopping $90 million in total prize money for the 2025 tournament. That's up to 20% from last year. The men's and women's single champions will each walk away with $5 million, a huge jump from the $3.6 million awarded in 2024. Runners-up will pocket $2.5 million, while semifinalists take home $1.26 million. Even quarterfinalists will see their share rise to $660,000. Doubles and mixed doubles champions will earn $1 million per team. And for those hitting the court early, just reaching the first round in singles guarantees $110,000. The boosted payouts come with an expanded 50-day singles schedule and the debut of a mixed doubles event during Fan Week, a move officials say rewards players at all levels. The 2025 US Open kicks off later this month, promising high drama both on and off the court. This is Carlo de la Peña bringing you the latest sports news.
In a world where job hopping is often frowned upon, one man is being celebrated online for doing the exact opposite and making it go viral. Social media TikTok user at GZ, who proudly calls himself the CEO of employment, has captured the attention and admiration of netizens. He's been spotted working a variety of completely unrelated jobs and doing it with a serious expression that's now become a meme of its own. In one viral video, he's seen working at a garden center wearing an orange apron and surrounded by plants. In another, he's spotted at a mall market, standing at a stall and handing out free samples. And just when you think he's done, another clip shows him sitting inside what appears to be a broadcast studio. Netizens can't get enough, leaving comments that he's unlocking every job class and speedrunning the workforce. Whether it's pure hustle, a sense of humor, or a bit of both, the CEO of employment has certainly lived up to his title. From trending gardens to working in a studio, this man proves you really can do it all. Israel is defending its plan to expand military operations in Gaza, calling it liberation, not conquest. The United States is backing that position, but other world powers are strongly opposed to it. Joy Tabanao has the details.
At the UN Security Council, Israel met sharp divisions over its new Gaza plan. Israeli Deputy UN Representative Brett Miller defended Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Gaza plan at an emergency UN Security Council session.
This is not conquest. Israel has no plans or desire to permanently occupy Gaza. This is liberation from a brutal terror regime.
Miller called it the path to stability and the path to peace for both Israelis and Palestinians.
Prime Minister Netanyahu has made it clear. Israel's goal is not to take over Gaza, but to free Gaza from Hamas and enable a peaceful government to rise in its place. This is the path to stability. This is the path to peace.
The U.S. is standing firmly with Israel, with Ambassador Dorothy Shea also saying Israel has the right to defend itself and decide what measures are needed to end the threat from Hamas.
Israel has a right to decide what is necessary for its security.
Shea accused some council members of prolonging the war by giving propaganda victories to Hamas and claimed ceasefire talks collapsed partly because of efforts to target Israel with libels and lies. But opposition came fast and strong. Russia, France, and the UK condemned Israel's intentions, warning the plan would violate international law.
Решительно осуждаем намерение правительства Нетаньяху захватить Газу.
Russia's envoy said the move contradicts the International Court of Justice's July 2024 advisory opinion, calling it proof Israel intends to occupy the enclave. Palestine's UN Representative Riyad Mansour challenged Netanyahu's claim that there's no starvation in Gaza by urging the council to send journalists to see for themselves.
Then why don't you, the Security Council, go to the Security Council, take with you 100 journalists from your countries and other countries to verify exactly what is happening in Gaza. If he's so sure of this global conspiracy about the lie, let him prove it. Invite you, allow you to go to the Gaza Strip and see exactly what is happening there. Take journalists with you so that you can verify exactly what is happening in Gaza. Because I think Mr. Netanyahu, in spite of all of the effort that he is putting with his government, he doesn't have credibility.
Mansour said outrage alone is not enough, urging the use of all tools available to stop what he called illegal and immoral plans. The UK, Denmark, France, Greece, and Slovenia requested a briefing after Israel's Security Cabinet approved a plan for the Israel Defense Forces to take control of Gaza City. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
From London to Kuala Lumpur, Santiago to Amsterdam, protests erupted worldwide this weekend over the war in Gaza as Israel moves to expand its military offensive. Valdivina Gracia for the story.
In London, violent clashes broke out between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups during a rally demanding the release of the Hamas-held hostages. Police intervened to separate the two sides, making at least one arrest. The march came days after Israel's Security Cabinet approved a plan for full control over Gaza. In Tel Aviv, hundreds rallied at Hostages Square, warning that new offensive could endanger captives taken during Hamas' October 7, 2023 attack, which killed over 1,100 in Israel and saw more than 200 kidnapped. Across the globe, massive pro-Palestinian demonstrations called for an immediate ceasefire and sanctions against Israel. In Malaysia, 30,000 filled Dataran Merdeka Square. In Chile and Argentina, crowds accused Israel of genocide and pushed for action at the UN. And in the Netherlands, protesters urged their government to end arms exports and back stronger diplomatic pressure. According to Gaza's health ministry, Israeli strikes since the war began have killed more than 61,000 Palestinians and injured over 150,000, with aid groups warning of worsening famine and civilian suffering. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Gracia, SMNA News.
A successful joint operation involving the Department of Migrant Workers, the Philippine National Police, and the Philippine Coast Guard led to the rescue of 38 Filipinos from a human trafficking attempt of Taha Wharf in Baliwasan, Zamboanga City. According to the DMW, the victims were on board the cargo vessel ML Sayang and were scheduled to be transported to Taganak Island before crossing to their destination country. Among those rescued were 8 women traveling with Philippine passports and tourist visas headed for China. 4 of the victims had previously been offloaded due to suspicious travel. 3 facilitators of illegal recruitment were arrested during the operation. Reports reveal the victims were promised a salary of 70,000 pesos as domestic helpers in China, while some of them were said to be taken to Malaysia. And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Sun. Discipline and sacrifice are the ingredients to success. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Angel Pastor. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.